Hello and welcome to 90.4 Oman FM. This is Tuqallawati, and today I'm joined by Marian Fernandez, whose account on Instagram is @rion.food, and he is someone who loves to share his passion of food with the world. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I'm very excited to have you here.
Likewise.
Because I am a fellow foodie, and I would love to know, how do you feel about food? Are you a self-proclaimed foodie as well?
Kind of am. Well, to be honest, I actually wanted to become a chef back when I was younger. And then it became dentistry, and then it became so many other things. But naturally, food connected to me at a very early age. My mom used to work for SQU, Sultan Qaboos University Hospital. And she would work in shifts. So, being a busy mom, you don't exactly get to prepare everything in advance. So I had to learn to cook at an early age. So because of that, my fascination rooted from there, I guess.
I see.
And my dad also was, quite a well-known cook in our village in Philippines, and he's Indian. So, my dad would prepare these curries for the entire neighborhood, and everybody would just come flocking in. So I guess food kind of brought this, kind of joy in terms of, for me growing up.
I see.
So suppose that's it.
So what about the foods that you grew up eating? So you are half Indian, half Filipino.
Yes.
What are the main foods that you just really enjoyed having?
Oh, I enjoyed all kinds of food back then as a kid too. And to be honest, I wasn't really much of an eater as a kid. My parents had to force me to eat.
I see.
Yeah, because my dad was giving me super large portions and I couldn't finish them. So for me, I guess I would have I think I'm more accustomed to Filipino food, but then if you bring me to India and have me stay there for a month, then Filipino food becomes foreign to me because I just get so immersed in the flavors there.
I see.
So I guess it's a good balance, but then more dominant on the Filipino side since I grew up there for many years. So yeah, but the most interesting journey for me is coming to Oman because that's when it evened out the battlefield,
Yeah.
for me.
It's a diverse palette of tastes and flavors. So is it the thing that inspired you to start food blogging, or is it a different experience maybe?
Honestly, I didn't start with food reviews. I didn't really start with this channel, okay? I had my personal page, and I was creating videos related to food way back then when Reels were a thing. And I started maybe doing this back in 2013. I started making snacks at home, recorded them with my sister and I, and we would just have fun in the kitchen, and I would post them. The issue was with my account, I guess is my personal account, is what I'm talking about. The problem was I got shadow banned because of copyright issues.
That's unfortunate.
That's a lesson. That's a lesson that was, that really is seared into my head right now. Don't face any violations, don't do anything wrong. And I did so many videos before I started this page. And going back to your question though,
right.
What inspired me to do it, I guess I wanted to become a chef, but then I didn't really want to be stuck in the kitchen. So I figured maybe I'm really much more invested in the media of food. I love taking photos of them. I like taking videos of them. I like describing my experiences with them.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so how often do you visit these food spots? Because I understand that this is not your main hustle, obviously. You do other things.
Yeah.
So are you planning to grow your presence on other platforms? Are you planning to make this maybe a long-term thing?
I do. I've always wanted to do this for a long-term thing. And of course, YouTube is going to be there. TikTok, maybe. But Instagram primarily because that's the main medium here in Oman. And on YouTube, I plan to do more long-term stuff. Long-form stuff. So on Instagram, because the attention span of the viewers don't exactly, go well with long-form content. But then when it comes to YouTube, sometimes you just watch videos of food just to sleep.
Right.
So that's the kind of stuff I got, I fell in love with. So that's what got me into this now.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you choose restaurants to feature on your page, do you prioritize what's trending, or is it more about your personal taste? Because often it can be tricky.
Yeah.
You want the views, you want some level of viewership,
Yeah.
You don't want the videos to flop, obviously.
Exactly, yeah.
So how do you balance the
Honestly,
two?
I didn't really care much about trends. Although I did, kinda, when I reviewed this one restaurant. And that kind of blew up as well. Like, that's one of the best performing videos on my page. And the thing is, I did kind of jump on that trend once. Only once. But I'm not really so good with trends, you know? Like, I always do my own thing. And for me, the kind of places that I feature are most often close to my heart. Like, for example, today I'm going to release a video as well by 12 p.m. It's already scheduled. And that's a place in Al Khair, for example, that Pakistani bakery that's been there for ages now. And it has fed generations of kids and parents both. So, like, that place is quite close to our hearts here, like for people in Muscat. And that's the kind of story I want to develop my content with.
So storytelling is part of your experience as a food blogger.
Exactly. Like, you may say I'm a foodie or whatever title there is, but like, for me, I think I'm more of a storyteller. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy. I like sharing my experiences verbally and visually.
Okay, so keeping that in mind, since you like to go to these hidden places in Muscat, who is your target audience exactly? Do you have someone in mind?
Actually, interesting enough, I had this conversation with my wife. One of her friends, two of her friends are actually quite famous here. And they told me, like, yeah, go ahead, just do whatever you're doing right now. You're headed for the right path. And the only thing though is that you don't speak Arabic. And I'm thinking, like, you know what? I actually don't mind that as much, because the thing is, as much as I would love to speak Arabic, the problem is I didn't really learn the language. But the thing is, like, I think Oman has actually, adjusted well enough to, like, watch Western media. Absolutely. Or, like, international media. So, like, we're all watching these different channels from all around the world, and it wasn't really much of an issue. So I thought, like, maybe why not be that guy here locally? So that's what kind of, started the gears for me.
So probably you can, like, be of the bridge.
Exactly.
That allows people to have exposure, people who don't speak Arabic and want to know about the food scene here in Oman. So what changes or developments would you love to see in the food scene here in Oman?
Oh, wow. Yeah. There's this one video that I created about, like, Japanese food here in Oman. Please, if there's anybody out there, just come up with a way to make genuine Japanese food that makes such a difference. And that's one thing I noticed here too. I would love to see more Southeast Asian businesses popping up, because I feel like the flavor profiles could bring in something new for the people of Oman as well. Like, we're quite well accustomed and comfortable with those kind of flavors, especially when, like, I hear an Omani friend, for example, who visited this part of Asia. They'd be like, oh yeah, I love this food there from this country because of this and that. And then I'm thinking, yeah, sadly we don't have that here, don't we?
Yeah, unfortunately we do have these small
shops. Like maybe one or two places, and that's it.
I feel like there's a saturation of East Asian restaurants, those Korean ones, maybe not too. That many, but not as much as the Southeast Asian.
Exactly. Aside from just Asia too, we could have a lot more here in Oman. That's the thing. And one thing I noticed here in Oman is, like, food is such a big part of our leisure. We enjoy food on a regular basis.
It's one of the main activities.
Exactly. So, like, considering that it's such a great market to start with, introduce something great from your country, bring it here, let the people enjoy.
Absolutely.
And Oman is such a welcoming country as well, so, like,
it's very diverse.
Exactly, yeah.
So since you're from the Philippines and India, how would you compare that culture to Oman, their food culture, to the Omani one?
Culture. I think I'd like to start with my Filipino side first. Comparing, growing up, one thing I learned about food amongst Asians, I guess, is, like, we always try to prepare food not for one individual, but then for the whole pack, like for a family. So, when you make, for example, Kabuli rice or whatever it is, kabsa, it's not for one single person. You don't cook for one single person. You cook for the entire family. And that's quite unified when it comes to, like, Asian cultures too. Like, we don't cook for one individual. We always tend to share the food that we prepare, because that's, like, our love language. I guess that's how we create harmony amongst our community.
Okay.
So I guess that's the most fascinating thing that I could say. But then in terms of comparison, street food culture here is quite interesting as well. Like a lot of mishkak places have been popping up.
In a Sib.
Exactly, yeah. And Mawalah as well. That is like the boiling point right now, I think, right?
Have you made any content in relation to that?
I wanted to. There was this one interesting chef. Should I mention him? Nah, it's okay. I wanted to go to his spot, but then unfortunately I tried to contact him twice. And he said, like, yeah, just come over. Whenever I go there, he's closed. So like I'm thinking, dude, come on. I came to Moala twice now.
Hopefully next time.
Exactly.
So since you've tried so many restaurants and, cuisines, what's the most surprising reaction you've ever received from a restaurant you reviewed?
Yeah.
Controversial.
I guess that is the beauty of what I'm doing now. See, I don't charge people for what I do. I don't charge restaurants. I don't even ask them for pay. They always try to send me DMs like, how much do you charge? What's your card? What's your rate card? I don't do that, please. I don't charge you for this because what I take from this is basically the joy of sharing your story and your culture to all these people who are watching the content. So the most genuine, most happiest moment I've ever experienced throughout this journey of creating content is when I visited one of the places that I did videos for. When I came back there, just after 2 days, the place was packed. I was so happy. I was so happy to give them this amount of business. And when they saw me again, they were like, oh, yes, you did the video for us. Blah, blah, blah.
That's amazing.
And then they were so happy. Like, look at they only had their kind of people passing by. After that, it was Omanis, Indians, Iranis, so many cultures just trying out their food. And like, I think like some of the people were like pointing, I think that's the guy in the video. So like, that was the most fun experience I've had, I think, when it comes to the reaction of the restaurants.
So that's on the bright side. Are there any negative experiences so far? Hopefully not.
None so far, I guess. Not really, no. No, nobody actually said anything. But yeah, I mean, there are a few haters in the DMs.
Of course.
You can't do anything about that.
But on that same note, you know how there are some food bloggers who only share positive reviews about restaurants. Everything is a 10 out of 10. How do you feel about that? What's your stance on it?
Dude, you know what? Honestly, I feel like those guys are paid. But see, I don't blame them. Me, for example, when you eat at a certain restaurant, I don't think you have bad food. Like, maybe not satisfactory food, maybe not incredible food, but like, it's not really bad food. I may have eaten at this one place where the burger is too soggy or whatever it is, but it's still something that I would still finish. Right. So I don't really waste food. That's the thing. Like, for me, some people may be easy to please, but in terms of, giving your opinions and then serving that opinion to the general public, I think you have to think from an unbiased, helm. So with that said, my perspective on those people is maybe try to leave a bit of room, maybe for some criticisms, because if you don't try to communicate the needed change for this business, it's gonna fail eventually. So maybe trying to, like, whenever I review food also, I think maybe if you guys have seen the content, at the end, I try to give in recommendations to the restaurants. Like, if you could do this, maybe if you could keep this powder instead of that powder, then I try to at least make a bit of difference when it comes to how they operate. And maybe when the customers pass by, they would have already implemented the change, and that would have made a better experience.
So, like, to ensure this objective reporting, how do you deliver it so that it is constructive criticism for these businesses, but also you ensure that it doesn't hurt those businesses, because some of them are small and anything really could make or break.
Exactly, yeah. Like, when I try to give in my review of the food, I always have to consider that whatever I say now is going to be watched by thousands of people. And whatever I talk about is going to be the first impression that they make of this place. So as much as possible, please don't try to damage a restaurant's reputation. There's no place that opens up with the intention of serving you bad food. No. The problem is some people might be short-sighted when it comes to, a broader perspective on what the people might like. So for me, what's the most important part is that I communicate to you that this place may be lacking in a few things, but don't ever skip the chance to visit them. try it out, and maybe I could be wrong. Maybe that, maybe my dislike or discomfort with whatever they've served is for me. Maybe you would have loved it.
It's all very subjective at the end of the day.
I may have criticized a few food that I would have recommended a few changes for. Some of their fans were saying, nah, you got it wrong, bro. You should have done this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
Yeah, and I will go there again to review them for a second time. I really wouldn't mind.
But suppose like a business was affected by negative reviews. The damage has been done. Do you think the food blogger should be held responsible?
It depends, Like, I think for me, I've been careful with what I've shared online. And once again, I'm stating this again, I'm not really out there to do some damage, when it comes to a restaurant's reputation. But a person, we've been granted the ability to share our story with thousands of people. I think we should be responsible with that kind of power. So
Absolutely.
Like you should be responsible with this kind of ability, So when it comes to sharing a story related to a restaurant, please keep into consideration that this is other people's hard work.
That's a very good message.
Exactly. Like, you have to be cautious about what you do or what you say about these guys, because all this hard work, this business might be struggling, and they've been serving the community for this amount of time. And because of that place closing down, now there's no favorite food spot for these people living in this one certain area. So, like, try to support as much as possible. We're not trying to bring anybody down. We're trying to support these people with their businesses.
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
So moving on to a more light point, your videos. Yeah. They're very compact, they're short, they're very striking though. What's your process for keeping them that way, visually appealing?
Yeah, I try to watch a lot of like international content creators. Like, we all doom scroll, I'm gonna admit that as well. Like, I could spend 2 hours just looking at my phone way back then. But after I started this whole thing of creating content, I started spending less time on social. Like, maybe a maximum an hour on social media for the entire day. I even have like a set marker on my time management.
Very impressive.
Yeah, like, you want to be more productive. So like, as much as possible, I try to stay away from like doom scrolling. Anyways, the process. So I guess for me, like, can I tell you about how I normally do this on a daily basis?
Sure.
I get off of work at 6 p.m. or rather, I go to work at 8 a.m. So within that time in the morning, I wake up at like 5 or 6. I try to plan, like, is it a good day to have breakfast outside and maybe review that place? Fine, we'll decide. Then after 6 p.m., I finish off of work. That's when usually I feel like, maybe I should do like a fried chicken review. So like, it's usually between those hours, it's usually after work hours that I try to produce these videos. And it's hard work too. Honestly, like, you're done for the day and then you feel like, oh man, I have to do this video. So like
I understand that it's spontaneous spurts of energy. It's not really scheduled.
Exactly. The places that I visit are not scheduled, but I do plan to shoot a video every single day back then. And I'm not sure if you guys saw my recent post. Like, I've gained like a lot of kgs now. So like, I gained a lot of weight, and I'm thinking like, no, I don't want to be responsible. So like, you know what, let me manage this properly, health wise and for the content. Can I just ask the guys, like, can I please post 3 times a week now? I do plan to share like great quality content, but I also want to look after myself.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we're going to conclude this with the very last question. If you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, man.
That's a hard one.
That's a hard one. Can I ask you, though, what would be yours?
Mine would be instant noodles, actually.
Oh, which kind?
Those bulldog samyang Korean noodles?
Korean ones?
Yes.
Not bad.
They're
dude.
really good.
That packs a lot of heat.
Yeah, but I don't pour the entire packet.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's lethal.
For me, it would be hot dogs. I love hot dogs so much. Like, I'm not sure which kind though, but definitely hot dogs. I love them.
They're horrible
on a bun.
for your health though.
It is, but like, you know what? If I'm gonna eat that for the rest of my life, I think I just want to keep that life short.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much
for having
here.
Me.
I really enjoyed this conversation. And if you guys want to follow him on Instagram, his account is @rion.food. Make sure you tune to his reels and posts. And we'll see you next time. This has been Tuqa Lawati from 90.4 Oman FM. See you next time.